This episode is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, the #1 seller of games and gaming accessories. And GatheringMagic.com, the #1 resource for Magic the Gathering news and articles.
All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Big Nass, and I have with me none other than Pro Tour Avison Restored champion Alexander Hayne. Hailing from beautiful Montreal, Canada, has been touted as Canada's next big thing. He first came to the world's attention in his own backyard, where he lost to fellow Canadian Richard Hohen in the finals of Grand Prix Montreal. That earned him an invite to the 2011 World Championships, where he finished in 56th place. After a disappointing showing at Pro Tour Dark Ascension in Honolulu, Alex cashed in his Pro Players Club invite to go to Barcelona, and the rest, as they say, is history. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Alex?
Well, I've been playing Magic since a bit before Ravnica. I used to play chess, so I was introduced to Magic by a friend who was also playing chess casually, and said, you like chess, you like poker, and you probably like what game you'll love. You love Magic, and I started playing, and I loved it. It was awesome, and I started playing PTQs after a while, and it took me a while to finally qualify, but I finally won one this past year playing Pyromancer's Ascension. And
yeah, I remember that actually. I was doing coverage at that PTQ.
Yeah. And then so I finally qualified and got to play Pro Tour Philly, and it was definitely a big learning experience, like playing at that level. And I definitely left. I didn't do well, but I left sort of wanting more, and refocused myself, and then had my performance at GP Montreal and kind of kept it going. I'm been working with KYT to make Mana Deprived a big website, our Canadian website, and I don't know much else there's to say.
So what would you say is the main key to your success?
I mean, really kind of never giving up and just always trying to get better. Like, you don't judge yourself by other people. Just keep on, as long as you're better than you were yesterday. Like, that's my goal. I want to be better at Magic than I was yesterday, every day. Okay.
So for most people, when they need to go to another continent, they get on this wondrous invention that we call an aeroplane. But you had some different ideas there. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, I mean, normally for Pro Tours, we basically go to wherever the Pro Tour is, and we gather up there and we test in like a house or a hotel for the week before or something. So Kaplan had the idea instead to take a cruise across, because it was similar cost to flying, and we'd basically have, we'd all be in one location and with food provided and lodging, and we could test. So both Kaplan and I had level 3 invites, so we didn't have flights, but unfortunately it didn't work out for most of the other Canadians joining us because they had flights with their invites. Mm-hmm. So basically it was just me and Kaplan, and we had a blast, a lot, relaxing a lot, playing various games, and of course testing for the Pro Tour.
Yeah, I bet there was a lot of good food on the cruise as well.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of good food.
Right on.
Though, like, not as good as last time I was on a cruise, though. I don't know if they're cutting costs to give a cheaper price for everybody, because it was dirt cheap.
So is that where you guys came up with the deck for the Blue-Eye Miracle deck?
Yeah, it was on the ship, where basically we're trying all sorts of things, and one thing was, okay, what happens if we like push Miracle to extreme and just jam basically as many miracles in the deck as possible? Because then whenever you draw a spell, it's going to be a miracle spell if all your spells are miracles. And you just basically, your odds of drawing a miracle are way, way bigger when you have more of them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, yeah, it's an idea I think other people also tried. Just, it was finding the utility cards to support it, like Feeling of Dread, that were really, really key.
Yeah, I mean, from watching your matches, Feeling of Dread looked like it was a very, very important card for you.
Oh, it was huge. Like, basically, the more you play the deck, the more you realize, like, mulliganing aggressively into like Feeling of Dread is one of the big big things, because it just buys you so much time. And with the deck, you basically, the more turns you buy, the more draw steps you see, and the more chances you get to hit a miracle.
Okay. So who else ended up playing the deck, and how did they end up doing?
Well, there were 14 of us in the team, and only 2 people didn't play the deck. So there were 12 of us playing the deck altogether. I don't think anybody else finished in the money. I think Doug Potter was playing the last round for money, and I think Dan Lantier was close to. The deck did not do great for most people. There were some good results. I mean, I think a bunch of people went 3-2, and there might have even been a 4-1 in the first portion, and then nobody did, other than me, did that well on the second day, I think, with the deck. It was definitely a very challenging deck to play, and I think part of our results in playtesting, where it was crushing everything, were skewed by the fact that you basically have the time to really decide on your plays, and you have other people watching you to make sure you do the right play.
Right.
So on. So it's kind of like a giant puzzle, like every turn. When you get into like the mid game, like what do you use your Tameo for? What cards are you going to try and draw? Do you play your cantrips now to try and draw into something you can cast, or do you wait to be able to draw into like a miracle that you couldn't be able to cast otherwise? What if you draw into another cantrip? How much damage you're taking? Can you use your Feeling of Dread now? Are you going to take the damage now, etc.? There were a lot of decisions to make, and it was really hard to make those in a tournament setting. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, for instance, 2 of my losses in the tournament definitely could have been avoided if I'd been playing better.
So for those people out there that are playing block constructed events on Magic Online, would you recommend this deck for them?
Probably not. I think if you were to play this, I would recommend the updated version that Channel Fireball played at Grand Prix Anaheim.
Okay.
Our version was hedging our bets basically against an open field that was a format that was less defined, like Devastation Tide, for instance, is a lot. It's basically, we didn't know what Planeswalkers people would play and what other things, and it was kind of a catch-all. Whereas now the format's more defined, and Rolling Trembler is definitely better, which is what the Channel Fireball crew replaced it with.
Cool. All right. So after 5 rounds, you were sitting at a 2-3 record, which meant that you would have to 3-0 the first draft to stay alive. Were you nervous sitting at that draft table?
Not really. I felt very confident about draft, but actually they changed the system so that the day 2 cut is at 4-4 now.
Oh, okay. So you would have to you would need to pull off like a 2-1 to make day 2. So,
I mean, I wasn't at that point. Kind of at 1-3, I was feeling pretty bad, and we spent all this time working on it, and I kind of was just tired and wanted to go to the hotel.
Yeah,
but
I know that feeling.
just kept playing anyways. And I mean, we'd done a lot of drafts in the format, and I'd always been doing well in the draft format, so I felt pretty confident going into the draft.
Good. Okay, so after you 3-0 the draft, what did you think your chances were at that point? I mean, you still had another draft to go, and you still have 5 more rounds of constructed. I mean, how realistic were you about your chances there?
Well, I really didn't think. I kind of thought that it was not possible for me to really win the tournament at that point. I was hoping to get top 75, lock up gold, or maybe get top 25 and get a flight for the next Pro Tour and be able to be the top Canadian on Pro Points for the World Magic Cup. But I really didn't have my sights set on top 8 or anything. It's just, okay, well, I just, I need to get win 5 more or something out of the next 8, and I'll get gold. That was the goal.
Sounds good. All right, so a lot of successful tournament players will tell you that other than maybe the finals, the most stressful round is the win and in. For Barcelona, for you, that was round 15. So a win there means you can comfortably draw into top 8 the following round. So tell me a little bit about the match you had against Henry Romero for that win and in.
Well, first of all, I actually didn't know that it was actually winning in because if you're looking at the standings, I had the worst tie breaks, which kind of made sense since I started 1-3, and I was paired down against Romero, and so if everybody else would play and if they'd all end up with one person winning and one person losing, I would be paired down again in the last round, so I would be unable to draw in. What happened, though, of course, is that two of the people, they drew, so then there was basically an extra spot ahead. I was in the standing, so I could draw in safely. But, that match, he was playing Angel of Glory's Rise Reanimator, the deck Travis Wu came up with.
Okay.
He worked with Travis Wu for the event. And that deck, that was actually, like, probably our best matchup possible. It was just really, really hard for us to lose that matchup. There was nothing really scary, just super slow mid-range deck, and the Miracle deck exceeded at like going over the top of those type of decks.
Right. So you basically just steamrolled him in two?
Game 1, I completely steamrolled him, but game 2, he had interesting tech from the sideboard, Triumph of Cruelty.
Okay.
Black enchantment. So basically, I have to discard. It's effectively I have to discard a card each of his upkeeps, and that was pretty good. I mean, the thing is though with the Miracle deck, you don't really need to have a hand. You just draw a powerful spell. Like whenever you draw an entreat, you just win. The deck was effectively an entreat combo deck. That just the whole point of the deck is to buy yourself time until you finally draw an entreat, and then you just win because none of the decks in the format could deal with it. People were cutting Sever the Bloodline from their decks for Bonfire, and while Bonfire Miracle dealt with it, taking 9 mana to be able to deal with it otherwise was usually meant that they just died when you entreat.
Yeah, it's
so
definitely a very powerful card.
Yeah, I basically bought time against the Triumph, and I swept his board a couple of times so that I didn't discard those turns, and just and then entreated and killed him.
Okay. So once they announce the top 8, and then you find out who your opponent's going to be, it's going to be John Finkel. What was that like?
I was very excited, actually. I wanted to play against John. One of the reasons I play Magic is basically to sort of stress myself to see like how far I can go, and like John's basically probably considered by many the best player ever in the game, and so that's the type of person I want to play against to basically learn and get better. And so I was pretty excited. I mean, it's pretty awesome. How many times do you get to play against John Finkel in the top 8 of a Pro Tour?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, most people wouldn't want to play against him because he has a pretty good track record. But I mean, you said it. You want to play against the best. So
yeah, and so I was pretty excited to be able to play against him. And I mean, I'd already locked up with the top 8 Platinum and top Canadian Pro. So the only other thing I could really gain besides money, which is nice but wasn't the most important thing, is the first place prize of getting invited to the World Magic Cup.
Mm-hmm.
The World Championship. Yeah. I mean, I was pretty happy.
All right. So I watched the match you had against Finkel. I just want to talk about Game 4 for a second. So there's a point where he's at 16, and you have Geist of Saint Traft and a Snapcaster Mage and a Tameo in play, and you've just miracled your Time Walk, and you can kill him in 2 swings here, but you attack first and then you draw cards looking for the second Time Walk. Was that a mistake, or I mean, were you just kind of like just going balls to the wall there? What was that all about?
Okay, the reason I attack first is because if he has Wolfear Avenger, I get to tap it with Feeling of Dread, and I get to draw an extra card.
Okay.
Whereas if I draw cards first, I get to see 1 less card potentially if he has the Wolfear.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm going to attack anyways because either I'm going to draw a Time Walk or I'm going to draw a Sweeper or an Entreat or something to affect the board. Or if I draw nothing, then I'm probably just going to die. I'm not going to win that game anyways. Okay. If I just have to chump block with my guys, I'm going to die. So
fair enough. I mean, that was a hot rip though. drawing the Time Walk to win the game to force that Game 5. That was just amazing.
Yeah. And I mean, if he'd played the Strider Root guys from his hand, I don't think I would have had that opportunity.
Mm-hmm. So, of course, I'm not going to let you walk out of here without talking about Game 5. So if you guys aren't aware, Alex sideboarded in an incorrect number of cards and presented an illegal deck. He called the judge to resolve the situation, and Finkel said he was fine with just proceeding with the game and letting him fix the deck. So the typical penalty for this sort of thing is a game loss, but the head judge allowed Alex to fix his deck and continue with no penalty. So, I mean, your heart just must have been beating out through your chest at that moment. I mean, tell me what was going through your mind there.
Well, I just I sideboarded, and then, we're just chatting and shuffled up, and I was shuffling, and then I was planning to remove the cards, but then I forgot, so I presented, and, we shuffle each other's deck, and I was like, wait, did I remember to take those cards out? So I look in my deck box, there's only 10 cards looking back at me, and I'm like, oh no, oh no. So I call the judge and myself and say, I presented a 65-card deck. And so it's going through my mind right now. It's just like, okay, well, I mean, I guess this is the way it ends. At least, it's kind of didn't want that to happen, but I just thought, okay, well, that's how it is. But according to tournament procedures, since I called it on myself before we drew cards or anything, it's typically downgraded to a warning, which is what happened.
Yeah, so I mean, it was good that you caught it right away.
Right. I mean, it's a very, very good sportsmanship from John, and I have the utmost respect for him. But his call didn't actually do anything. It's not a procedure that your opponent gets to decide whether or not you get in game loss or not.
Yeah, I think that's a very common misconception, that people just think that Finkel let you have it, whereas, I mean, I don't think his comment really swayed the judge's decision all that much.
No, it just really made things kind of simpler. It went way more smoothly because of that. And I mean, I definitely appreciate it, but the way the announcers made it sound is that basically he could take the easy win if he wanted to, or take the honorable way, and he chose the honorable way, which is, I mean, it's definitely true that he chose the honorable way, but it wouldn't have been a game loss either way.
Yeah, it wasn't his call to make it in either case.
Right.
So I mean, do you have a favorite story from the tournament, or favorite anecdote, or I mean, any good tales?
Well, I mean, the rest of the team was just awesome the whole time. It was awesome testing with them and preparing for the event. Had lots and lots of fun, and just the fact that on Saturday night they let me go to sleep. They told me to go sleep, and they stayed up the whole night testing the matchup for me. It's just incredible. And then the support there by them and everybody back home, the whole Canadian Magic community was rooting for me, and it was just awesome. I just felt, I couldn't let them down, so I had to win. My favorite moment's probably when right after I win, and then everybody's there, the whole team's there right by the playing area, and they're all singing Hallelujah, very poorly, but still just
I heard it was pretty bad.
Yeah, they're pro Magic players, not pro singers.
I guess that's true. So, Rookie of the Year, Pro Tour winner, Canadian national team captain. What's next for Alex Hayne?
Well, I'm planning to go to GP Vancouver. So if anybody is going to be there, I'd be glad to say hi. And I mean, I plan to just keep playing and trying to improve. And I'm really looking forward to the Players Championship, where I get to play against all the best players in the world and me.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. It's going to first tournament of its kind. So I mean, everybody's going to be watching every match. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's basically kind of like I get the excitement of my quarterfinal match against Finkel, but every round. Yeah. Everybody there is insane. And definitely looking forward to that. And of course, the World Magic Cup, the team championship. I'm glad to have Lucas Siao on my team. He just won the most recent qualifier, and there's one in Calgary this weekend, and I hope somebody else awesome gets to join us on the team.
Yeah.
Jamie Blanchette as well.
Yeah, by the time this goes up, that event will be in the books, so we'll know what the team is by then.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. It's always at nationals. I wanted to be able to represent Canada and the teams, and I think everybody does, and so I'm very excited for that. Team tournaments are a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I've said many times that Nationals is one of my favorite tournaments. I mean, I'm a little less excited about the way Nationals is right now, but only because like our tournament organizers, we really don't have like the player base to have like a big event like they do down in the States. So it's just really just like a PTQ up here. But I mean, I just love the old Nationals. It was just so much fun.
Yeah, me too. Even though I lost to you in the last one.
Yeah, I remember that actually.
Yes, it was a good match though.
+1 to victories against Pro Tour champions. All right, well, there you have it, folks. I want to thank Alex for being here, and I wish him good luck at his upcoming events, especially at the World Magic Cup and the Players' Cup. You can follow him on Twitter at Insane Hayne, and you can check out his articles on manadeprived.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can check the description below for all the relevant links. And until see you guys next time, thanks for listening, and take care of yourselves. Bye.